Alright, what's going on, guys? Elden Ring DLC Shadow of the Erdtree has been out for a week, and millions of us have embarked on the adventure following in the footsteps of Miquella in the Land of Shadow. But the one thing that's for certain about Shadow of the Erdtree is that, like the base game, this DLC is huge, which means there are going to be a lot of things that you missed. So today we're going to go deep into this DLC and explore 8 things that you more than likely did not know, such as this. Did you know the rock golems in the forges pet the lava slimes like dogs, and you can catch them doing it if you sneak up on them? And you know how this works. If I show you something that you didn't already know, be sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe, because I will have a ton of Elden Ring DLC content on the way. And this series will probably go on for a long time. But with all that, let's go ahead and get into it. One of the main things that Elden Ring DLC focused on as its core component of gameplay is exploration, with the Land of Shadow having lots of points of interest and intertwining on itself in many ways. So our journey through the Land of Shadow will play out a little bit differently than how we tackled the base game, and one of the ways it does this is through the use of spirit springs. Many of the main areas are hidden behind spirit spring jumps, and many of those spirit springs require a short puzzle in order to activate. As indicated by the stack of little spirit stones, you will need to search the area for an identical tower of stones and break it in order for the spirit spring to be activated. Now, most of the time these stones will be in relatively close proximity to the spring. You won't have to go that far in order to find it. Now, this isn't a hard puzzle by any means, but did you know you can just skip these puzzles by using Margit's shackle? Literally all you have to do is just go up to the spirit spring and pop the shackle, and it will automatically topple the stone spirit tower. And this worked for every spirit spring I tested it on. Now, I'm not sure if this is just somehow the Margit shackle doing damage to the spirit stone tower, or if the range on this thing is so wide that it counts as a collision with the one that's supposed to be hit. But either way, it works, so next time you see a spirit spring that needs to be unlocked, just pull out the shackle and there you go. It'll make your adventure a little bit easier. The first major boss of the DLC is the Divine Beast Dancing Lion, your introduction into the way the bosses fight in the Land of Shadow, and they are definitely much harder than the bosses in the main game. Now, when you enter this fight for the first time, where an old woman is reciting a sort of prayer, calling the Divine Beast to action. Now, if you explore the Bayle level and find the storeroom key, you can actually enter the room where this woman is. However, she won't talk to you. But after you defeat the Divine Beast, one of your rewards will be the Divine Beast head, which appears on the ground by the side of Grace. If you wear this head and go back to the old woman, she'll then start to talk to you, recognizing the scent of the Divine Beast. She'll talk about her joy in the Divine Beast returning to life, calling you the Sculpted Keeper, and she'll then reward you by giving you the spell for Watchful Spirit. Now, you might have already known that, and this is where most people would end their interactions with the old woman. But have you ever tried attacking her with the Dancing Lion head on? There's a very interesting interaction that takes place if you do, so check this out.
Sculpted Keeper, what hath come over thee? Look at me, I am not thine enemy. Mesmer and his sordid lot are elsewhere. Art thou now becalmed? Worry not, thy deeds were not thine own. 'Twas the thrashing rage of the sacred beast spilling out from within thee, I am sure. 'Tis bound to occur once in a while. See, I am just fine. No harm done at all.
So I thought that was very cool, and I like the fact that she actually uses the Watchful Spirit spell that she gave you as a way of trying to calm the Divine Beast down. And I love that FromSoftware always goes the extra mile in providing little details like this. Very cool stuff. Now let's head over to one of the main bosses of the DLC, Bayle the Dread, the most terrifying of all dragons. Now this fight plays a big part in the story. It answers one of the biggest questions we've had for a long time pertaining to the original prehistoric Elden Lord, Placidusax. When we encounter him for the first time, one of the things that'll be noticed is that he's missing many of his heads, along with broken horns, indicating that at some point he was in a great battle, but we never knew with who. Well, now thanks to the Talisman of the Dread, we know for a fact that Placidusax's battle was with Bayle, and that it ended in grievous mutual injury. And when we encounter Bayle, we see the scars of that battle. His wings ripped to shreds, his left leg bitten off and charred, and deep scars running along his back. But did you ever notice that other remnants of that battle are two of Placidusax's heads still biting into him? We can see the first biting into Bayle's neck, and the spine of this head wrapping around Bayle's body, and the second Placidusax head is biting into his shoulder right above the wing. And if you look at Bayle from above, you can see how these heads were coiling, almost as if they bit into Bayle as he tried to fly away, ripping them from Placidusax's body. The level of detail here is crazy, which is a real sign of dedication considering in a fight like this that's so chaotic, you'd probably never get the chance to even see this. But even so, it's really cool. Next up, did you know it's possible to encounter Melina in the Land of Shadow? Now, when I saw the prompt to talk to her pop up, I got really excited thinking we were going to get some new dialogue pertaining to the DLC, but unfortunately, this is only left over from the main story. Now, the dialogue I received here is from after the Morgott fight, before journeying into the mountaintops of the giants. This specific encounter is not tied to a location, which is why it's possible to activate in the DLC. But what's weird about this is that this prompt did not pop up at the first few sites of grace in the DLC, only when I got to Castle Front, outside Castle Insis, and a few of you guys let me know that you also encountered Melina at a couple different sites of grace, but with the same dialogue. So even though she doesn't have anything new to say, it does still make a cool opportunity to take some pictures, or just have this unique event happen in a place where it normally couldn't. But it does make me wonder, if you could get to the DLC without ever having gotten Torrent, could you trigger that cutscene here? That'll be a difficult one to figure out. One of the coolest new areas in the game is the Fissure, an underground cavern covered in purple haze and purple lilies, invoking the nature of Saint Trina. But here you'll find one of the new Remembrance bosses, the Putrescent Knight, a fairly goofy looking skeletal figure that rides atop a melting horse. It's a pretty cool boss, definitely not one of my favorites, but interesting to say the least. Now, the name Putrescent Knight implies a state of rotting, as we can clearly see going on with the horse. Now, we can dig into some lore to figure out exactly why that is, but something else very interesting is actually the name of this boss in the files. According to data miners, the file name for the Putrescent Knight is Knight of the Gloam-Eyed Queen. Now, if you're someone that's into the lore, then you know exactly why that's significant, because the Gloam-Eyed Queen is an enigmatic figure in the lore that we were desperately hoping to see make a return in the DLC. However, now we know it was scrapped, and so it seems that Melina cutscene at the end of the Frenzied Flame ending is just gonna remain a mystery forever. And honestly, it's quite the shame, but perhaps that's just in true FromSoftware fashion. For this next discovery, we need to go deep into the Abyss, the treacherous swamp in the DLC's south that even Torrent is too frightened to explore. Here we'll find a section of the swamp patrolled by the aging untouchables, shadowy figures with giant frenzy grapes for heads that will inflict the player with madness simply by looking at them. And many fans were quick to notice the similarities between these aging untouchables and the Winter Lanterns of Bloodborne, not only in appearance, but also in function, as the Winter Lanterns will afflict you with frenzy by being in their line of sight. But FromSoftware knew exactly what they were doing, and even though they didn't name the aging untouchables Winter Lanterns, they sort of did in a sense, as throughout the area you can find a crafting material known as the Winter Lantern Fly, a nice little callback to all our horrors in Bloodborne. But if you ever find yourself getting caught by one of these Winter Lantern 2.0s, you may try engaging them in combat only to realize you can't touch them. However, they're not entirely invincible. There is surprisingly a way to kill them. Their only attack is a little light that grabs the player, instantly inflicting madness and more than likely killing you. But you can parry this grab attack, making the aged untouchable vulnerable to damage for a short time, and killing it rewards you with the aged one's exaltation, a talisman which increases your damage in the vicinity of madness. This next one is pretty interesting. If you head to the Skadu Altist west side of Grace and go to this cliff, you will find a path to drop down onto the castle walls below. It's a nice little area to fight a mini-boss and stock up on some new smithing stones and cookbooks. But here you will find a Stake of Marika, only this is no ordinary Stake of Marika, as you'll notice immediately if you go up to it. If you approach this stake, you'll receive an action prompt saying, question action button text question, and having absolutely no clue what this will do, I'm sure you'll press it anyway, to which you'll receive the notification question event text for map question. Now, clearly somebody forgot to finish their line of code here, but what this actually is a leftover mechanic from the 1.0 version of Elden Ring, where you had the option to enable the Stakes of Marika instead of them being enabled automatically by proximity. So you actually had to go out of your way to find them in order for them to revive you. So I guess somebody just made a mistake when placing this specific Stake of Marika and placed the old one instead of the new ones. Now, some of you that have been checking the internet while playing the DLC may know about this one, but I wanted to include it anyway for a reason that we'll talk about in just a minute. But this is how to get the legendary Swords of Light and Darkness. First, you'll want to go to a dungeon called Fogrift Catacombs and clear it out. Towards the end, you'll do some parkour on top of the falling traps, with an altar where you'll obtain the Stone Sheathed Sword. This sword can be transformed by finding 2 other altars in the map, one altar of light and one altar of darkness. The altar of darkness can be found at the ruins of Unte after throwing a hefty furnace pot into the head of the fallen Wicker Man. It will cause him to come to life, opening up the entrance to the ruins. If you head to the right side of the ruins, here you will find the altar of darkness, where you have the option to raise the Stone Sheathed Sword to the dark, rewarding you the legendary Sword of Darkness. The altar of light can be found in the ruins of Rao. Heading from the ruins of Rao west side of Grace, go up the stairs and head north all the way until you get to the Scarlet Rot area. Once you get here, continue on through to the east where it opens up outside. And as we've seen time and time again in FromSoftware games, here is an invisible bridge, one that when you cross will bring you straight to the altar of light. Now when you reach this, it doesn't matter if you've already transformed the Stone Sheathed Sword into the Sword of Darkness, because you can still transform it into the Sword of Light, and vice versa. I love these swords. I think they're so cool. The weapon arts look fantastic, but the real reason I wanted to talk about them was because we've known about these swords ever since the game came out. The icons for all 3 versions have been in the files ever since launch, and if you've been around on the channel for a long time, you know we've covered them for a while and they've been a huge mystery. I actually made a video specifically about these swords roughly a year ago, and it makes me very happy to finally be able to use them. I think they're awesome. But have you tried these swords? Let me know how you like them down below. But that is going to do it for today's video. Let me know if I showed you something that you didn't already know. I tried to avoid spoilers as much as possible, and I think by now most people are at least halfway through the DLC, so I tried to keep all of these within that range. But if you have a DLC secret that you didn't find here, then let me know down in the comments below, and I might include it in the next video. But if you enjoyed today's, be sure to subscribe if you're new around here, and with all that, I will catch you in the next one.